So let's get started. Introduction to GSA Multiple Award Schedules. Hopefully, by the end of the presentation, you will have a good understanding of exactly what a GSA Multiple Award Schedule is. Our agenda includes an overview of the GSA Schedule program, why you should or should not obtain a GSA Schedule contract, the advantages and challenges of getting on schedule, how to obtain a GSA Schedule contract, where do you start with the process, what are the proposal requirements, and then lastly, what to expect after a GSA Schedule award. Okay, so what exactly is a GSA MAS? GSA General Services Administration Multiple Award Schedule. It is an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract. Essentially, that means there are no guarantees of any sales. Indefinite delivery means you could be delivering daily, you could be delivering weekly, you could be delivering never. Indefinite quantity, there are no guarantees that anyone will purchase any specific quantity of your product or service. You have to think of it as a contracting vehicle. It is a method of selling your products and services to the federal government. It is not the only method of sales, but it is one method that many government agencies do utilize. It can be up to a 20-year contract. It is awarded in 5-year periods. It's a streamlined method of acquisition. Your company, your past performance, your pricing, your terms or your shipping, all of those things are already pre-approved. It can limit the competition. Not everybody has a GSA schedule, and if that's how a particular agency or buyer wants to make their purchase, you're competing against fewer companies. It does require market research, commitment, and a great big effort to become successful with GSA. So does your business really need to be on GSA? It seems like once a company gets registered in SAM, they get inundated with offers to get your company on GSA and, make a gajillion dollars. Well, that's not necessarily true. Like I said previously, it is not the only way government buyers make their purchases. So some things to take into consideration are, has the buyer asked if you're on schedule? If a buyer has said, oh, if only you were on schedule, I could make the purchase from you off of your schedule. Is your competition on a GSA schedule? If your competition is there, that might be a really good indication that your company should also be on GSA. And probably the most important thing is, does the government actually buy what you have to offer? You need to, the government buys a bajillion things on a daily basis, but do they buy specifically what you have to offer? How does your target customer purchase? Some organizations, some facilities like to use GSA schedules, some don't. So I think it's important that you do some research and find out exactly how the agency that that you want to do business with, how do they do their purchasing? Is your commercial market strong? You have to have a good, stable business in order to get a GSA schedule. And there's also a requirement that you have to sell a minimum of $25,000 annually off of your GSA schedule. Initially, you have the first 2 years to meet that requirement, and then after, you have to meet it annually. Okay, so market research. You have to conduct the market research. Develop a marketing plan, a sales strategy. You have to go into this knowing who's going to buy your product or service. How frequently do they buy it? And are they buying it off of GSA? There are many websites that you can go to get that type of intel. Beta.sam.gov has the Federal Procurement Data System reports available, and the reports will indicate if purchases are made off of GSA. Know your competition. There are websites that you can go to and find out who that competition is, and we'll look at a couple of them in a few minutes. You must understand that it does take time and effort. This will not happen overnight. It can take, well, depending on how much effort you devote to the proposal process, it can take maybe 4 weeks, anywhere up to a year before you get your proposal completed and submitted. Then it will take an additional several months for your offer to be evaluated and then awarded. We have a question, the $25,000 a year and the 2-year timeline. After that initial 2-year period to make that 25,000 sales goal, after that is you have to meet that goal annually. To get 25,000 is that, or you have to spend on marketing. Well, you have to market your schedule. Once your contract is awarded, you have to market it. You cannot simply wait for all the orders to come into you. Contrary to what some of those phone calls and emails you get where, you know, they're saying, we'll get you on schedule and the orders will pile in, that's not true. You have to market your schedule. And we'll get into that in a little bit, okay? So compliance and support. You don't get a schedule and then just let it sit. You have to maintain compliance with all the terms and conditions for the life of your GSA contract. One of the things that you need to consider is you can't offer any customer better pricing than you offer your most favored, or than you offer to GSA. Your pricing has to be based on your most favored customer pricing, and then the government gets as good or better. So you have to maintain that for the life of the contract. Another thing to consider is you can't raise your GSA pricing without raising your commercial price, and you always have to maintain that pricing differential throughout the contract. Sales reporting. Once you get your contract approved and you are making sales, hopefully, you have to report those sales on a quarterly basis. You have to, it's called the Industrial Funding Fee, or IFF. The IFF is 0.75% of the GSA pricing that is added on top, and then quarterly you have to remit that payment to GSA. You have to prepare a schedule price list and get that uploaded onto GSA Advantage within 30 days of an award. And GSA Advantage is sort of like Amazon.com. A buyer can go into GSA Advantage, load up their shopping cart, pay with a credit card, and they're done. A buyer can also create a statement of work and distribute that to only GSA schedule holders that are offering those services. That's called GSA eBuy. And then you can respond to the eBuy notification. So there's a lot of things that you have to consider that will take up a certain amount of time and energy to make the most of your GSA schedule.
Hey, Jane.
Yes.
I know you said we'll talk about some ways to market your GSA schedule later on, but quick question for you. Does GSA have a schedule for supplier diversity services or professional services like training or consulting?
Yes. And we'll get into exactly what is on schedule, the different categories of products and services. Okay. Okay, so part of your research. This is a scary looking website to me. The GSA Schedules Query. And this is a website where you can obtain information on all different aspects of sales from GSA. They recently upgraded the system, so I'm not as familiar with it as I was the old SSQ website, but there is a wealth of information in here. You can find out who's buying on GSA, what they're buying, who they're buying it from, how often they buy it. This is great intel, and I think it's very important that you spend some time on this website. And yes, all of the slides will be available after the presentation. Another very important website is the GSA Elibrary Gsa Gov. Fortunately, this is a much easier website to navigate. Here you can put in a search term. Let's try training. Whoop, it helps. Spelling does count. And you can, the results will give you the all of the different schedules that include training. I mean, there's tons. And then you click on a category, and then that will give you the list of companies that are currently on schedule under that category. and it will give you their contract number, their socioeconomic factors, and where they're located. Then you can click on the company name, and this wasn't a good example. But let's do another one. Okay. Laser barrier. Here is one company, Beam Stopper. They provide laser barriers. So when you click on the company name, you can actually view their catalog on the GSA Advantage website. You can post, see, it's just like Amazon. You will post photos, your pricing, and buyers can come in here and load up their shopping cart and check out with a credit card. It's a very easy way of purchasing for the buyer. Okay. Now I have to get back to where I was. So GSA Elibrary, it's a good website to spend a little bit of time in and see who is on schedule and what they're offering and what their pricing is like. You have to know if you can be competitive with the pricing that's already on schedule. So let the fun begin. Where are you going to start with this whole process? The first place that I like to go is, it's referred to as the GSA roadmap. This website, Guide to Preparing a Schedule Offer, it has links to everything that you're going to need to be able to prepare and submit your GSA proposal. So I always like to start, I always tell people, start at the beginning and go down the list. Get ready, assemble your offer, and finalize your offer. So the first step is going to be training. There are several training exercises that potential schedule holders have to go through. The first one is Pathways to Success. Essentially, this tells you how GSA schedule contracts work, how to succeed with GSA, what you need to have in your proposal to be awarded, post-award administration, what to expect after you get an award. It takes about an hour to, excuse me, it takes about an hour to complete the process or the training. And at the end of the training, there is a quiz that you have to take, and the certificate that you receive once you pass the quiz has to be uploaded as part of your offer. Another training that you have to complete is called Readiness Assessment. The whole GSA system has been drastically changed in the last year or so. It used to be there were, I don't know how many separate schedules, and each separate schedule was for a particular category of product or service. They've all been combined into one GSA schedule, And then there are multiple attachments for the specific areas of product or service. And it's important to note that the training has to be completed by a company officer. So you can't have an admin complete the training who isn't going to be involved in, the actual process. So remember, it has to be an officer of the company. And these trainings are required, the proof of the trainings are required to be uploaded with your offer. Okay, so before you can even get started on the GSA process, you have to have a DUNS number and be registered with an active registration in SAM, the System for Award Management. If you don't already have a DUNS number, here's the website. And you have to have the DUNS number in order to start the SAM registration. SAM is sam.gov. And if you need any help with that, please contact your local PTAC office, and we would be more than happy to assist you with getting a DUNS number or helping you get registered in SAM. Another requirement is a digital certificate used to be required to be loaded on the computer that you'll be using for your GSA. The digital certificate identified you and acted as an electronic signature. There's been a change with that. Starting yesterday, as a matter of fact, they now require a FAS ID. Now, you may still need a digital certificate for other government contracting purposes, but it's no longer required for GSA purposes. So, what is the FAS ID? Essentially, it is a multi-factor authentication process, and it is required to access eOffer, eMod, and all the other GSA systems that are part of the schedule process. The website is listed right here, and there's a very good user guide that will take you through the steps of obtaining your FAS ID. Now, the person registering for the FAS ID has to be listed as a point of contact in the SAM registration. It can be the government business, the electronic, or the past performance point of contact, but they have to be there in order to obtain the FAS ID. Oh, and more than one person can obtain this. So if you have several people in your company that might be working on various aspects of the GSA process, they can all have their own FAS ID associated with your company. So after you've done the training, then it is the solicitation time. Read it. You have to read it, please. I've dealt with far too many companies that have not read this solicitation, and they always end up having problems. The solicitation, I mean, you have to understand the elements of the offer. What do they want you to submit? How are they going to evaluate proposals? What are the terms and conditions? And most importantly, what are the instructions of submitting your GSA offer? And there are very good instructions, and I encourage everybody to read it. I know it's really awful reading some of these documents because they're 100+ pages long, but there's no way around it.
Jane?
Yes.
And I know we've got a lot of questions. I think we'll answer quite a few of them as we keep going, but one thing I wanted to interrupt about, for the FAS ID, since that's a new thing, if you already have the digital certificate, do you still need to get the FAS ID?
Yes. As of yesterday, the digital certificate will no longer be accepted.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So the solicitation document is posted on beta.sam.gov, and this link will take you right to the solicitation documents. It is imperative that you work from the most recent revision of the GSA solicitation, because since they've switched to the MAS, the Multiple Award Schedule, instead of all of the individual schedules, there have been several revisions. Normally, there's only one a year, but there have been several recently. So you need to make sure that you are working from the most recent revision. When you go to Beta SAM, if there is a more recent document, it will indicate that there is a newer document and provide a link that you can click on to take you to the most recent offer or the most recent solicitation. So when you go to Beta SAM, there are 15 documents that you can download. 01 is the solicitation document. That's going to be the big document that has all of the terms and conditions, the instructions, everything else. Document 2 to 13, those individual attachments are category specific. And we'll look at those in a few minutes. Number 14 are the regulations that are incorporated by reference in the solicitation document. These are going to be the FAR regulations, the Federal Acquisition Regulations. These are the rules of doing business with the government. And then number 15 is the available offerings. The available offerings is set up to have a large category, a subcategory, and then the SIN, the special item number. So the large category in this example, for instance, security protection. Well, security protection covers an awful lot of things. So then you look at all the subcategory descriptions, and then you select the subcategory that fits your company. And then next is the SIN, the special item number. They've converted the SINs, most of them are now the NAICS codes. So it makes it a little bit easier to identify the SIN that is the best match for your company. Okay. So when you going back to that little table I had, the first part was training, and then the second part was preparing your documents. there are templates that are included that you need to use, and then there are other documents that you need to create and upload. And then other documents are created within the eOffer system. eOffer is the electronic web-based system that offers are submitted. Okay. And so the templates that they provide are the price proposal template, and it is a huge Excel document, and I'm going to show it to you and review it. You can't make changes on these templates. You have to use what they provide you. The agent authorization letter is if you're using a consultant. Past performance, you have to be able to document to GSA that you have successfully provided your products and services to other customers. It used to require an open ratings report. They no longer use or accept an open ratings report. So you have two ways of addressing your past performance. One is a questionnaire that is sent to your customers, and the other is through CPARS, the Contract Performance Assessment Reporting System. That one is if you've already had government contracts, your contracting officer would have entered information into CPARS, and the GSA contracting officer will access that to get your past performance report. Letter of supply. If you are offering products and you're not the manufacturer, you have to obtain a letter of supply from all of your manufacturers. And there's the template for that you need to use. Additional templates. Now, these templates are just for reference. The commercial sales practice format template. I mentioned earlier that your GSA pricing has to be based on your most favored customer pricing and the discounts that you offer your most favored customer. And your GSA pricing has to be as good or better. And there's a template that you can complete to help you gather all the information you need. Some of these templates, I think it is so much easier to fill out the template, and then that way when you're in the eOffer system, it is much easier to just do copy paste. Okay. And then if you're other than a small business, you do need a commercial subcontracting plan. Okay, so, oh, and then I mentioned earlier, there are category specific templates. So, and the individual specific categories, they may include some additional certifications or requirements, and those will be identified in the category attachments.
Jane, those are category specific, not customer specific, correct?
Correct.
Are there any customer specific requirements, or it's all category focused?
No, it's all category focused. Okay. So the previous slide, the first part was large category, and these are the large categories: facilities, furniture, industrial products, IT, office management, miscellaneous, professional services, transportation, and travel. So the first step is to select the large category that is a fit for your business, and then go from there. I am going, okay. I wanted to bring up the, okay, I'm going to go back a minute here. Okay, I'm gonna, I'm sorry I didn't have it pulled up in advance. I thought I had everything ready.
Just on another tab there.
Pardon?
You're good. Just keep going.
Okay, okay, good. So here's the available offerings that I was talking about. The templates are all available to download from this website. Let's see. So the, okay. This spreadsheet right here, the available offerings attachment, okay. Do you still see, Joey, is the spreadsheet up?
Yes. The price
Okay,
proposal template.
Oh,
Now we got the available offerings. You're good.
okay, good. Thank you. So here, this is the spreadsheet that identifies all the different large categories, small category, or subcategories, the sins, everything. So the second tab identifies the large category. Facilities is the first one. And then here, the second column are the subcategories. The third column is the SIN, the special item number. And remember, the SIN has been converted to match the NAICS code. The SIN title, the whole description, the NAICS code, the NAICS title, and then a whole bunch of other information that we won't get into right now. But it's very important that you look at this spreadsheet and figure out exactly where you fit and what is relevant, the right space for your company to make an offer. Okay. These spreadsheets are huge. So, okay, back to the presentation. I hope.
Could you go back to the roadmap actually?
Sure.
Would it be possible to show where to find the trainings and find the price proposal template just while we're on a pause point?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me start at the beginning of the roadmap. Are you seeing it, Joey?
Yes.
Okay, good. So guide to preparing a schedule offer. Go right down the menu list here. So here's the little table that I showed earlier. When you click on train, it will give you the information on pathways to success and readiness training. And if you click on this little gray bar on next steps, that's where you'll find the links and everything that you need to access the trainings. Oh, you do have to register and have an account, but you don't have to have the FAS ID yet to just access the training, okay? So that's where the training is. And And then it has all the information, excuse me, for registering, getting a DUNS number, the system for award management, SAM, past performance, here's another link that will take you to the spreadsheet for the categories. There's tons of information. And if you go right down the line, you're gonna get all of the information that you need. And on the right is the expanded menu. So I talked about the letter of supply, the proposal template, or the price proposal template. All of that is right here. You can click on the links and it'll take you to where you can get a copy of the agent authorization letter or the letter of supply.
Okay. Awesome.
There's also a pretty okay submission checklist right here. I always like checklists. I like being able to, kind of make my way through my to-do list. So that's a pretty decent, it's a pretty decent checklist. Okay. Ready to go back to the solicitation?
Yeah, and as you're pulling that up, as you pull up the presentation, is there like a one-page document that outlines all these steps, or is this roadmap kind of the best way to see the sequential order?
I think the roadmap is the best way. I think the roadmap covers everything that you need. And working your way through that website, I think is the best way.
Awesome. One other quick question while you're getting the presentation pulled up. If you're new to the federal contracting and don't have past performance, what do you recommend for that?
Well, it doesn't have to be government past performance. It can be commercial past performance. So as long as you have current customers, that you can prove, you can document that you're a stable business, you have customers. Having government customers is not a requirement. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So the next part is to start assembling your offer. I already talked about agent authorization letter. That's if you're utilizing a consultant. Your letter of supply if you're not the manufacturer. And then your price proposal template. In my opinion, this is the hardest part of the whole process, putting together your pricing. Because remember, you have to offer as good or better pricing than you offer your most favored customer. So there are two price proposal spreadsheets. One is if you're offering products and one if you're offering services. So I thought I would just demonstrate the product one. The first tab is if you're offering products with a discount. The second tab is products with markup. So depending on your particular product line, that will determine which tab you're going to do your price offer. I've only had one client with that used a markup, and they sold televisions. So they had to identify the markup rather than base it on a discount. products with discount is easier to deal with. So as you can see, this is a huge spreadsheet. And you're going to enter your DUNS number, your company name, the SIN, that special item number that you're offering, the manufacturer name. If you're the manufacturer, you enter your name. The manufacturer part number, the dealer part number. Sometimes those are the same, sometimes they're different. UPC information, the name of the product and a product description. Unit of issue. If you're dealing with electronics, if there's any green certification, recycled material percentage. Okay, so now we get to the fun part. For the item, you're going to enter your commercial list price. So for demonstration, let's just say you're offering it for $100. Okay. Did you see that? It's all self-calculating. It's really cool. Then you need to identify the pricing that you give your most favorite customer. So my most favorite customer is Joey Scott, and I always give him a 10% discount right off the bat. So, oh no, I'm sorry. Joey is my most favorite customer. And then here is the discount that I give him. So my most favorite customer price is $90. Now, remember, your GSA discount has to be as good or better pricing than your most favorite customer. So I'm going to do GSA 15%. And that's exclusive of the 0.75% industrial funding fee. The industrial funding fee is a fee that you add on top of your GSA pricing that your customer will pay. That's what funds the whole GSA program. So my GSA offer price is, I want it to be $85, but the actual price is going to be $85.64 because that includes the industrial funding fee. You only pay the industrial funding fee on items that are purchased off of schedule. I always recommend to the companies that I work with to keep your initial GSA offer limited. You may have 1,000 products, but that's going to be an awful lot of work. So don't offer all 1,000 products. Maybe offer 100 products or 200 products. That will be easier for you to prepare your offer. It'll be easier for the contracting officer. And then once you get an approved GSA schedule, you can add items later. And that process will be much easier once you're already on schedule and you've developed a wonderful rapport with your contracting officer. Now, if you offer your 100 products on GSA and a buyer calls you and says, I see you have these 5 things I need on your schedule. Do you also carry these other 5 things? You can still sell that buyer the items that are not on schedule, that's referred to as open market, and you do not pay the industrial funding fee on those items. You only pay the industrial funding fee on the items that you have listed on your schedule. Make sense? Okay. Okay, so the next column is if you offer any type of a quantity or volume discount and the country of origin. The country of origin really better not be China or some of the, or any of the other countries of origin. Those are all identified in the FAR clauses, the Federal Acquisition Regulations. You know, China, oh, I can't think of the other ones at the moment, but you know, Mexico is okay, Canada, Europe, Taiwan is an approved country. So you need to make sure that your products are not manufactured in an unallowed country. Okay, so the rest of these are, they're very specific, so for particular sins, so I'm not going to review that. So your price proposal, one line, one item. You have to list everything out on here. Now, oh, one thing about your most favorite customer. It doesn't have to be a specific customer. It doesn't have to be Joey. It can be the Ohio PTAC network or the national PTAC network. It can be a category of customer rather than a specific customer, like schools or universities or nonprofits or churches or whatever it might be. So, you know, whatever fits best with the way you do business is how you want to list your most favorite customer. Okay. This really is the hardest part of the whole thing. Trying to select the items or services that you want to offer, you know, who you've sold it to in the past and your discounts. The rest of it is really just, you know, completing information. I think this is the hardest part.
How does the service one differ?
I can show you. Let's see. Let me go back to the roadmap. So the price proposal template. Let's see. I should have had both of these up. My apologies. Okay. So. Okay, it's taking me back to the templates to download. I can't find it because everybody's watching me. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So under templates to download and complete and upload. The first one is the products template, the one I just showed you, services and training, and then security and travel. They have their own separate special price proposal templates, but for, you know, services in general, we'll click on this. It might take a second here. Okay. So okay. So again, you're going to list, the vendor, the SINs that you're offering. Now, where it really differs is whether you're going to offer a labor category or a service title. So let's say that you are a furniture, you're offering furniture and you want to offer interior design. So the labor category could be for a senior interior design specialist. The service and you're going to charge $100 an hour for that labor category. Or you could price by service. So office layout could be a service that you provide, and office layout is $500. There are no hourly rates involved. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna the service or labor category description, keywords. You also will identify the minimum years of education, experience that you require those employees to have. For an engineer, do you require they have a master's degree or a PhD? You'll identify all of that. If you're offering a labor category, you can you could have like a senior excuse me, you could have a senior engineer, a junior engineer, you can separate them by years of experience. Do you require any type of licensing for your different labor categories? Security clearances. Are you going to provide domestic, overseas, or both? And then again, the rest of it is pretty much the same, whether you identify your pricing, your unit of issue, and the unit of issue goes back to whether it is an hourly rate or a task. Okay. And then you offer your discounts. And there are different tabs at the bottom. If you're offering training, there's a separate tab for training. If you're offering language services, there's a specific tab that you complete for language services. Okay, so that's the difference between the products and the services. The products, you're listing your products individually. Services, you're identifying the specific labor category or a task. Okay.
Awesome. And Jane, I have to get going.
Okay. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate your help.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oops. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so we reviewed the price proposal template. Additional information that you have to compile and submit with your offer: financial statements, a subcontracting plan, technical proposal, and actually the next slides will go into more detail of this list. Okay, so here's the GSA price proposal information, the direct links to the templates, and information about the industrial funding fee. Okay, the information that you need to put together to submit with your offer, financial statements, balance sheet and income statements the previous 2 years. They don't have to be audited ones. If you can submit audited statements, that's best. The technical proposal, we'll get more into that. Professional compensation plan. This is only required if you're offering professional services like engineering. If you have submitted an offer previously and it is rejected, you need to include any rejection letters. The commercial sales practice. That's the information that I said is where you identify who your most favorite customers are and the price or the discounts that you offer them. You are required to provide pricing support documentation. These would be catalogs, price lists, copies of invoices, contracts, price sheets, things like that, that show these are your prices. And then you need to create a price narrative. Okay, so the technical proposal. Factor 1 is corporate experience. Just general information about your business, how many years been operating, how many employees, a history, what kind of resources you have. Past performance, we already talked about that. If you've already had government contracts, CPARs, and if not, then there's the questionnaire, and there is a template for the questionnaire that you can send to your customers. Quality control, very important. You always need to include a description of your quality control procedures. Factor 4, and this one is only if you're offering services. For every SIN that you're offering, you have to have a narrative of project experience. Now, this list is just very brief. There is a lot of additional information that you need to include in each one of these narratives. And all that information can be found in the solicitation document. The first part of the solicitation is in Roman numerals, and that first part is where you'll find really good outlines that list all of the information that need to be included in your technical proposal. Okay. Your price narrative. The role of your GSA, one of the roles of your GSA contracting officer is they have to determine that your pricing is fair and reasonable. So is your price the same or better than what you offer your most favorite customer? You have to provide a narrative if to explain the rationale behind why is the price that you're offering the government higher than your most favorite customer. And that, it has to be above and beyond it's higher because of the industrial funding fee. And you need to explain any deviations from your commercial sales practice. Okay. So once you get all that fun stuff prepared, put together, you're going to go to e-offer. And this is what it looks like. You start with account registration. And then once you get a username and password and everything, then you can start uploading your offer. On the left is the menu. The first section is corporate information, and then when you complete it, the little circle will be filled in. Authorized negotiators, you just follow it. And every section has a spot for every document, every required document to be uploaded. It's really not that difficult. And you don't have to upload your offer in one sitting. Fortunately, it does save all of your information when you have to log out. It'll all still be there when you log back in. Okay, so oh, this is also where you're going to come back, and remember, this can be a 20-year contract. So there are modifications that you can do. You can raise your pricing, lower your pricing. You might have changes in your points of contact, add items, delete items. All that is done through a modification, and that's done on this website also. And then your quarterly reporting, that's also done right here. Okay. So once you submit your offer, the next step is review and negotiate. When you submit your offer, you'll be assigned a contracting officer or a contract assistant, something like that. And they'll do an initial review of your offer, make sure that your company is responsible and responsive, you're offering good pricing, and they may ask for clarification, or maybe you forgot to complete something. Whatever it is, you'll receive an email listing all of their questions or all of their requests for information, and they will give you a very specific time frame to submit your response. Make sure you submit in that time frame, because if you don't, then you're going to go to the bottom of the pile, and you don't want that to happen. So we talked about, and then post-award. Once you get your GSA schedule approved, you'll get this nice little welcome letter with a whole list of things that you have to do next. You have to register with vendor support, upload your price list into GSA Advantage. You can put the GSA logo on anything and everything that comes out of your office. That's part of your marketing plan. Your quarterly reporting, and then you're going to be doing modifications as time goes on. And every now and then they will put out what's called a mass modification. And that's a change to the terms and conditions that will affect everybody. And you pretty much have to accept all the mass modifications that come out. Okay. Now, if you offer medical supplies or equipment, the VA manages 9 VA schedules, and that, those are for medical equipment, supplies, and services. The process is very similar to the GSA MAS. I think the biggest difference is the offers are emailed. You don't go through the e-offer. Okay, so some final thoughts. Always make sure to use the most current revision of the solicitation document. GSA is a process. I've had clients that I've helped get it done and ready to submit in 2 weeks. And I've had other companies that it took them over a year before they were ready. So plan accordingly. When you're going through the negotiation and review, don't argue with your contracting officer because you will lose. You need to educate your sales team. Let them know that they can't offer a commercial customer better pricing than you offer on your GSA schedule. Market. It's all about marketing. Remember, this is a contract vehicle. It is not a contract with a specific number of products or services requested. And if you need help, ask for help. PTAC, I have helped so many companies get on GSA schedule. If you need help, let me know. So, questions. Let's see. Okay. So does this apply to services offered? I would like to look into providing therapeutic and consulting services. If they're medically related, it might be on the VA medical schedules. That's just something you'd have to look at. So I don't see any additional questions. If anyone does have questions, oh, here's a few I missed. So yes, you have to accept credit cards. Oftentimes, especially with products, the buyer will go to the GSA Advantage and pay with a credit card. $10,000 is the credit card limit. So that's a good way to get those lower dollar. I probably will offer the webinar again, but I don't know when. I did record it, so it will be posted on the ptac.ohio.edu website. Michelle, I think that's something that we can talk about. And yes, PTAC does help guide our clients through the GSA process. Absolutely. To find out which companies have a current GSA schedule, you can go to the Gsa Elibrary Gsa Gov, and you can look for specific items or keywords, and you can see all the companies that are on schedule for that item. Yes, the IFF does apply to services. The question is about the dealer cost. The dealer cost is usually if you're doing a markup rather than a discount. Okay. All right, I showed everybody the services spreadsheet. And if you have any questions, if you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out to Joey, myself, or any of the other PTAC offices. The open market items should be on a separate quote, or at least clearly marked that they are open market and not GSA. And then in your accounting system, you need to be able to separate them also. We have an IT product, just came on the market, flat rate for everyone because it's so reasonable. The question is about, is it absolutely necessary to offer a discount? They're going to want a discount. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 10% discount or anything like that. It could be a 1% discount. It could be, they just want to know that the government is getting your best price. If you have products that are both medical but also technology, well, I think you'd have to look at the VA schedule to make sure that there's fit for the product on the VA schedule. It's not just the VA that can purchase off of the VA schedule. Anybody can, or any government, agency can. Can a company apply at any time, or do you need to wait for a solicitation? No, the GSA solicitations are always open. They're referred to as evergreen. You can apply anytime, and just make sure that you're working from the latest revision. Yes, my contact information is on the last slide. You're welcome. And yes, I will email out the slide deck. So let's see. Here's my contact information, as well as Joey's contact info. The birds are just something really cute. I thought it would be nice to end on a little bit of cute here. So I hope that you all found the presentation useful. I just started a poll. If you would like to answer the questions, it would be helpful. And again, I apologize for the questionnaire at the beginning. That's exactly what I intended. Like I said, it's the first time I've used those features of Zoom. So what can I say? So if anyone has any other questions, I can, let's see. I thought I could open it up. Well, I wanted to allow everybody to have their audio. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that, so I apologize. So please, if you have questions, if you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out. I am more than happy to help anybody, decide if they want to get on schedule, if they need help getting it accomplished. Yeah, we're here to help. And again, PTAC, all of our services are at no cost. We are funded by the federal government, the Ohio Department of Development, so everything that we offer is free. Let's see. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your attending, and Good luck. I hope you found the information valuable. Good luck. Take care.